When you come from a different culture, you just want to be normal. And if kids look at you a different way, then you try your hardest to be normal.
But what was normal?
Back then, kids were mean. And you don't want to bring it up, Emily.
Yeah.
When someone asks you to bring it up, you just
I
flick
know.
it off.
Yeah, I know. But I think in terms of like a healing process.
No. You'll never heal from shit like that.
No, but you can acknowledge it.
No. You leave it, Emily. You just leave it.
I'm Saray.
And I'm Julie. This year, we travelled with our soundy Joey across Aotearoa to eavesdrop on immigrant whānau talking with their children.
Every family we visited welcomed us, made us laugh, honestly made us cry. And over this series, we invite you too to listen in on Conversations with My Immigrant Parents. In this episode, we're hearing from 3 generations of the Meng family.
We've got Mom, the grandmother, her son T, and T's daughter Emery. Mom is Cambodian and arrived in New Zealand as a refugee in 1979, around the time of the collapse of Pol Pot's regime. T was only about 3 at the time.
Many Cambodians fled to refugee camps to escape the war. Mom, her husband and T were in a refugee camp in Thailand until they were sponsored to come to New Zealand. So in the 1970s up into the start of the 1990s, New Zealand took in 4,500 Cambodian refugees.
Mom now lives in Lower Hutt with Emery's granddad, who's spoken about on this episode but who doesn't feature. T had Emery and her twin sister when he was still a teenager, so he started off as a pretty young dad.
Emery and her sister were primarily brought up by their Pākehā mother and also by their extended family. Emery has recently graduated from uni, T works as a builder, and Mom runs her own food truck.
You'll hear T doing a bit of translating for Mom in this episode. They switch between a few different languages, and Mom doesn't speak quite as much as T and Emery because conversing in English at their speed is still a bit difficult for her.
We also wanted to put a quick content note in here just to say that the family will be discussing war and casualties of war.
So let's hear from Mom, T and Emery.
My grandmother's name is Mum Niang Meng. I call her Ye, which is Cambodian for grandma, I think. She came as a refugee from Cambodia in 1979, and she is very caring, very humble.
This is my daughter Emery. She's 21. She's my one of my first kids. And she's a very hard-working young lady. I have twin girls, Emery and the other one Cheyenne. I have Kaysen, and I have another boy in Australia named Zane. I have a stepchild named Noah, so I have a big family.
My first son, T. Meng, he just 42
this year.
this year now. My son, he's come here just about 3 years old. Now he just lived in New Zealand here. I think about 40. Yeah. Now he got a work builder. Builder. Yeah, got a job builder.
Good boy.
He's good boy. He's good boy. Grow up in New Zealand here.
Bagakyo is like a really bad swear word in Cambodian, but my grandma would say it so often that I was sure it was my name. Or like Migaroi, which is another really bad one.
You learn language, you have to swear first.
Yeah, that's right.
Learn to swear.
Grandma, what was Dad's nickname?
Tuati.
Tuati. What's Tuati though?
Tuati, you mean big son.
Big son?
Yeah, our son.
Oh, I thought it meant fat boy.
No, our son, child. When all my children born here, 4 children. Yep. T born Thailand. Yeah, so I come to New Zealand, speak English. I only speak my culture, but my children forgot my culture. Yeah, that's why I all the time not speak English.
Because mum's quite fresh.
Yeah.
I don't speak it fully, so I can understand bits and pieces. And I jump in from English and I jump in from Chinese to Thai to Cambodian. So I'm quite multilingual. So in one sentence, I'll cover 4 different languages.
Because of your upbringing here in New Zealand, you were kind of, I don't know, hindered. You couldn't really teach me a lot about our culture. You couldn't talk to me or teach me how to speak our language. So I had to learn a lot of it from you, Grandma.
Growing up in New Zealand, it was it's so different coming to another country and trying to fit in, you know. Back then you were kind of, cultures were all isolated in different groups in school.
Do you feel like that kind of stopped you from talking to or teaching me?
Oh yeah, it did. It did. Played a big part. English was the main language, and if you didn't speak English properly, and you try to speak Cambodian or Asian to, you know, because everybody spoke English, so you didn't. There was no need to, apart from when you were at home with your mum.
Grandma, how do you feel about it though? About how you had to teach us about how to speak and stuff, and how you, like, had to do all of that.
So I like to not forget from grandma language, Cambodia. If you can language, you learn, you're very good.
And did you feel like because we were in an English-speaking country that there was no need to push it?
You got to bring it down.
Can you?
Because mum, you got to. No, ma, yeah, jai, go, mama. I think mama need to speak English or Cambodian, ma.
Yeah, they need to speak English more when you're in New Zealand, you know. Yeah, you have to be not forgot your culture. Okay? Maybe, you know, go some, can you understand, you speak some.
Once the family made it to New Zealand and were confronted with a whole new language and culture, sponsorship from people who the Meng family is still close to really helped.
But, of course, this whole transition period was understandably super challenging, as was making enough money once the young family started growing.
And, you know, how do you safely integrate into a country like New Zealand after war, genocide, and then spending so long in a refugee camp?
How long were you in the camps for, Grandma?
2 years.
Grandma in the camp only 2 years.
That Granddad was telling me about, like, that you weren't allowed to have alcohol, you weren't allowed to leave the camps. Remember, he had to clean the toilets, him and Born?
No, you're not allowed. They got a rule.
So it's quite strict.
Yeah,
They,
quite strict.
alcohol?
They party.
They had
Party
secret parties all the time.
For friend come to America or come to Australia, Canada.
So everybody in the camp got separated.
Separated.
They were waiting for sponsors from different countries.
Yeah.
So we were all in the camps for maybe 2 odd years. So it was really strict in there. So we were waiting on our sponsor, which was Meng and Nisi. They were our sponsors. So they helped my mum and dad set up everything. House, clothes.
Everything.
Got them work. Just integrated them into the community. And they were great. They were good people. From my childhood, I remember them, and I was quite young. And the good things about it. So we stayed in Seatoon. I think mum and dad still keep in contact, Nisi and Meng?
Yeah. Nisi and Meng, they not live here. They live, what they call, Auckland.
Just in Auckland.
Oh, right.
Yeah. We never really talked too much about our childhood. My childhood wasn't really great.
Because of the upbringing you had growing up here with Granddad just coming, because they didn't really provide, your sponsors provided a lot of physical support in terms of like transitioning and stuff, but for people like Granddad who had just fought in the war, it probably wasn't the best kind of transit. Like he probably should have been given a little bit more support, I think, because that affected your relationship with him growing up in New Zealand, eh?
Yeah. Mum and Dad escaped the Cambodian genocide. So it was a massive thing to get out of. The days of the killing fields and all that.
Yeah.
Do you feel like because of what Granddad went through, that was really hard for you, like why your childhood was kind of...
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
He's not used to having kids or nothing, and he's an army, he was drafted for the war.
I feel like because your relationship with Granddad wasn't good. He was quite violent.
My relationship was just neglect.
Yeah, but also really violent and volatile. And I feel like you, because he still suffers. Like Granddad, love him, but he suffers a lot from his head's still there. And he still has nightmares and stuff, and he does things that he probably shouldn't do, like choosing to go down wrong paths and gambling and things like that kind of pull him in. And that affects all of us. He's constantly looking for a different...
Grandma, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Granddad's just like a baby. He's like a kid.
Yeah.
In a different country, still experiencing a lot of things.
I don't know, when you go from fighting or being stuck, like when he was stuck in Chiang Mai and he was like down that river and stuff, and he told us, he remembers seeing his friends' bodies like floating down the river. How do you go from living there and then coming here and being a taxi driver?
Yeah.
How do you, that wasn't easy for him either,
Yeah.
And so his relationship, because of that, going from that to that, really affected your relationship with him.
Mum's seen a lot of things that nobody ever seen in our time now. We are so sheltered from everything that's happened. It's crazy,
This is the part of the episode where I think we really get into intergenerational trauma, just hearing the Meng family's lived experiences of it.
And it seems really important to flag here that escaping conflict doesn't at all mean escaping the effects of it.
Like, I love you, but you didn't really...
Yeah, no, my parenting was quite shocking. It's I've never been taught how to parent because I was never really parented myself. It was hard growing up for me as a child going to school and not having the support to learn and do things that I needed to do. Because most kids these days can come home and mum and dad's there to help them, do their homework, do their reading and writing. Mum and dad couldn't understand that. Dad had too much on his plate. Mum couldn't really understand, And I had to suffer quite badly for that. And it just trickled on down the tracks with my brothers and sisters.
Maybe that's why you couldn't really, like when Shine and I were born and you were so young, maybe it was quite difficult for you to be there as a father for the both of us. Yeah. Because we did see you, but we'd come here every weekend and we never saw you.
Yeah, no. Oh, yeah.
Not until I was 15.
Yeah, when you're so young, you're like a child having a child, I didn't really grow up properly until I was in my late 20s because of when I, at such a young age, had so much responsibility.
And you were still kind of struggling?
I was helping. As mum and dad were working so hard to pay for this house, I had to help look after Matthew and Andy and my other siblings.
When his dad come home, when my children go pick up my children, look up children, have to cook meal, everything. They go to work, hurry up, go to work to 1 o'clock.
Mum and Dad never used to come home until like 8 o'clock at night, sometimes 1 o'clock. Dad would work 2 jobs, you know. He'd work during the day and clean at night. When you go to a different country, you know, you go there thinking of making it. But when you have to actually really work, it's really daunting on you, you know, because all you do is you see is what's ahead of you. You need to get that paycheck, so you need to work. And I think it kind of got ahead of them. I was hardly ever around. That's what I mean. I branched out a different way.
With the cool cats.
Yeah, I was
Tyler.
I was with the cool cats, unfortunately.
But what's
When you come from a different culture, you just want to be normal. And if kids look at you a different way, then you try your hardest to be normal.
But what was normal? What was the normal?
Normal was hanging out with your mates, you know, doing things that they do. I know, experience new things together. Just growing up in general, and neglecting your past, and that's what I did. You know?
Like how they picked on you for not being normal?
No, they just back then kids were mean. I've shut all that out. I don't want to remember anything. When people were mean to you when you were younger, as you grow up, you just shut them out.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And do you know why?
And you don't want to bring it up, Emery.
Yeah.
When someone asks you to bring it up, you just
I know.
flick it off.
Yeah, I know. But I think in terms of like a healing process.
No. You'll never heal from shit like that.
No, but you can acknowledge it. And
No.
No?
No. You leave it, Emery. You just leave it.
You just kind of put it in a box?
Yep. Throw it up.
I think growing up as a kid, I had this... Well, I'd come here. It's a 3-bedroom house. We'd have like 10 of us all in here running around. And my auntie, who is just 2 years older than me, it was a dream. I loved it.
2 years old.
Yeah. And so we had all these kids running around, and I had an amazing time. I never thought about... I mean, there were moments where I missed having a relationship with you, and I wanted that, but I wasn't really...
Bothered by you.
Yeah.
It kind of like... Because you've got so many kids around here.
Yeah, and coming here was kind of an escape. The food was amazing compared to my mum's like traditional baked beans on toast. So I loved coming here. The one thing that I really looked forward to was just the food, really. Grandma
made a little go a long way.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was good.
And like every single meal you had like fish and pork and chicken, like a combination of everything.
Smorgasbord of food.
Yeah. So I really valued my childhood, regardless of whether I saw you or not. Well, Shine and I, my sister, we're twins, and my mum, obviously, she's Scottish. She's very, very fair-skinned. So we were like the white kids of the family. But growing up, I never felt like we weren't like Cambodian or anything. I always felt like we could understand.
You weren't an outcast.
Yeah, we weren't really outcasts or anything. But when I got older, people would say, "Oh, you know, what's it like having a Cambodian family?" As if like I was not Cambodian, if that makes sense. So as I got older, I started to pick up on that, and I started to realize, okay, well, maybe it's not normal we're sucking on chicken feet, or maybe it's not normal to have like weird, fishy, smelly food.
I personally love chicken feet.
I don't.
You don't?
Well, I'm vegan.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, central problem. I think Emery puts this so clearly. People talk to her about her Cambodian family like she is not Cambodian. I feel like this is so common. At school especially, like people asking you about your family to make clear that they are different to you.
Yeah, you're encouraged to talk about your family as if they're different to you. Like
Yes.
they're in the distance. They've got this culture and these traditions, but don't worry, I'm part of you. I see that as weird as well.
Yeah. Don't worry. I don't see you as Cambodian. I see you as being part of the dominant culture. Like we get taught from a very young age to reject the thing that makes us different in order to please I don't know, some sort of good immigrant narrative, eh?
Yeah. It's like a way of showing that you belong, whereas your family doesn't. Your family is always left behind backwards. And I think we do that to ourselves as well. Like I know sometimes I'll say, my mum does this or my grandparents do this as an expression of traditional culture, as a way of kind of showing that I know I'd lack that, a disconnection from my own culture, but also probably still in ways where I'm othering myself from that or othering them from me, to kind of prove in some way that I am disconnected. I don't know.
Like if you can observe them from
afar.
Yeah, then you're more part of
the norm.
The mainstream culture. Or, yeah, Emery seems to have a pretty amazing perspective on it though, and she really sticks by her Cambodianness.
I was always really proud of it regardless. And I was always really excited to bring my friends over to the market for food because Grandma's a good cook and she is notorious for it. So it didn't really matter to me being different.
But my family, I think maybe 5 culture. First English, second Maori, and Cambodia, and South Africa.
But we have like an even amount of like
yeah,
kind of connections. Like we'll have my auntie's partner who's Māori and he'll invite us over like for hangis and stuff, and Grandma like comes over and she, you know, or like they'll come to the market and they'll have some of Grandma's dumplings and stuff.
You got the best of it, don't you?
Yeah. You never really taught us anything about
No.
growing up being Cambodian, or you didn't teach us any language or anything like that. But as I've gotten older and I started studying and I started like pushing those questions and I started kind of highlighting things that I really enjoyed about it to my friends and I'd really kind of like get excited about it. I think that's when I started bringing that home to you and really pushing for you to teach Kason and the boys Cambodian. I feel like, not to be thing here, but I feel like I've kind of helped bring that back a little bit.
But she got the best of it because she had everybody around her at the, like you had Uncle Matthew, you had Uncle Andy, Auntie La, Auntie Leah. You had everybody around you, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, I had everybody around me, but I chose to go a different way because more of a Western way. So I broke away from the culture because of how I was brought up and how I was treated. I ended up hating it, so that's why I went the other way. And
He was part of the gangs.
It just happened that way.
Yeah.
I went that way.
I am proud that although we didn't necessarily have the best relationship growing up, I would not be here or I would not have a relationship with you today if I didn't see how hard you've worked to get it. Because I know it's been a bit of a transition, but you're a good dad.
Thanks, Dylan. That's how Grandma tries to keep the culture strong in our family, is by having, when they have the events at the monastery and the church and all that, we're always invited. And she will always tell us if we would like to go to church with her. But I've got a bad rep at church, so I don't go.
He falls asleep. Yeah, you know what? That's the last time we took you to the temple. You fell asleep and you embarrassed us. It was so embarrassing. Grandma was like, oh my God, my oldest boy, he's so good. And then you come along and you fall asleep. That was so embarrassing. But Shine and I loved going to the temple because the food was so good. Like you'd come in and remember Grandma, like there'd be like 5 tables of like 20 different types of like jelly or like weird soups and stuff. It was nice.
Because Grandma, when you go to the temple, have a look, more culture.
I think the way that you really got us excited for our culture was you would hype us up. You'd be like, oh my gosh, in our culture, no one else does that. In our culture, we do that. Or you'd be like, see that fried chicken or you like that fried chicken? We did that. Us Chinese people bought fried chicken. Like, you're really excited. So we made big claims at like a young age.
Grandma makes nice fried chicken. So.
Yeah, today sell more fried chicken.
The family has Chinese whakapapa as well. So when they talk about us Chinese people, that's because they're Cambodian Chinese.
I love how Mom was instilling this cultural pride in her grandkids in this really kind of gentle way, because that must be a real reality. You see your descendants abandoning certain things, or you see them not feeling as much love for those things as you did, or them not being like a natural part of their lives. And what a cool thing to just be like, look at that. We did that.
Yeah. I was going to say with the food thing, that I think that's one thing where because Chinese food has somehow recently become cool and mainstream and everyone goes to Dominion Road in Auckland to get Chinese food, it's actually been like a way to fix or heal some of the internalized racism again that we had for our own culture, where like when I was little I hated eating dumplings because there was something so Chinese about it, and there's something weird about like everyone else thinking your food is cool that actually makes you think it's cool as well. And I know that's not the fix, like peer pressure shouldn't be the fix, but somehow it works. Like if we just appreciated other people's culture, then people wouldn't be internalizing all that hatred towards their own.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. It's kind of sad, eh? It's like no matter how many times people from your culture tell you it's good, it doesn't really sink in until you hear it from
A white person.
Yeah.
You taught us, there was always a reason behind every bit of food you taught us. I think we value food so much because if we were tired.
Like you tell what look like, you know.
But like even when we were younger, you used to say to us, oh, if you're tired, it's because you don't have enough red meat. Or if you're if you've got a sore stomach, eat some chicken and rice. Or there would always be a reason behind everything, and we'd always get really excited for that.
Yeah.
So why did you always like, who taught you like, you know, why it's so important to cook?
Oh, when grandma lived, grandma don't know how to cook it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Why grandma? Why is it every single time I'd bring friends over or anything, we'd like walk through the door and you'd be like, you have to eat. You can't leave without eating. Or you'd always like, yeah.
Grandma's always been like that.
Yeah.
Why do you think Nigel got fat?
He got fat.
Don't want to come here no more. Mum wanted to open a fish and chip shop.
Oh.
She wanted to
cook. She wanted to cook.
She wanted to run a fish and chip shop, but it was no good because my dad was he was terrible with money, so that was a no go.
But see, the thing is, people love your food always. Like.
So Mum just went to the market and started out with a barbecue.
That's
stand.
right.
Yeah,
at the
barbecue.
market just down the road.
And a tent and a barbecue.
Tent
And
barbecue.
every Saturday morning she would go down there.
Each of us, kids, have all had a go at that damn market, honestly.
So that's kind of like what Mum's dream was, really. You know, she kind of got halfway there. She didn't.
Well, yeah.
She's still cooking, but she's just not running a fish and chip shop or something.
No, but it was a big thing to transition from the tent to the caravan, eh?
Yeah.
And you, it's amazing how you as a kid, you worked at the market, and each of us, like, you know, 4 children. Wait, how many kids do you have? 5. Sorry, my bad. I had to think about that. 5 kids. Each of your kids had a go at the market, and now your grandchildren.
Yeah,
So it's gone through the generations.
Yeah, because you have good relationships. You have a lot of people who come to the market for
all
your
the
food.
customer around Thai here. Yeah, always. So I say, oh, you're still there.
Yeah,
You're still there. Yeah.
And it like we had like this kind of
Over 10 years.
people would come up to me in the street.
Grandma not recognize myself. Oh my God. 10 years over, yeah.
It's been more than 10 years.
It's been a hell of a lot longer than 10
It's
years.
been like,
A long time, eh?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
all my customer always come to me. So, are you still there? I said, yeah.
Mum's like an icon at the market.
Yeah.
She's like the Lower Hutt icon for the market. So from day one, everybody that's gone to her store have gone to her store till now. So
Yeah,
she's
because
the icon.
yeah. So I suppose in some ways you have a bit of a reputation for your cooking, eh?
Of course.
You're a bit famous.
She doesn't have to catch the bus. She'll go out on the street and my mates will drive past and pick her up.
Take home, yeah.
Do you know that this, like, kind of got me just in this moment hearing that? And I don't know why exactly, but we just all know people like that, you know, familiar faces, people you see at your, I don't know, at the cafe you always go to.
At the markets.
Exactly. And they're obviously migrants. They have worked the same job for years. You say hi to them. Maybe after a bit you sort of learn their story, but you'll never know it all. You know, there's so much to these people, to their backgrounds, and it's obvious because it's like the whole reason that we wanted to do this podcast is to open these stories up. But like, damn.
Yeah. Yeah, you put it real well. In this next section, T, Emery and Mom talk about their interactions with Barang people and whether they understand the struggle of integrating as refugees. Barang in Khmer is kind of similar to Pakeha, meaning a foreigner, particularly one of European ancestry.
Do you think Barang people understand us, our culture, or have been welcoming to us? She's gonna say yes, because she's like, she's nice to everyone. She thinks everyone's nice.
No, I don't think so.
No, why?
I don't think so, because they never went through. They've always been here. You know, so when you're in a place and you're familiar with everything, of course you don't understand what other people have been through. They've just come into the country and they can't speak, can't read, can't, you know. So of course you're not going to understand. You can't comprehend war because you've never been in a war. I can't comprehend it because I've never been on it. I've never seen anybody.
But you still have been directly affected by it, though.
I've been affected by it through mum and dad. But, you know, mum and dad have seen everything. They've seen dead bodies. They've seen people get chopped up in villages. They've seen hands get cut off for petty theft. Like people stealing vegetables and all that shit.
I think also
it's different. Over here, you get caught for stealing,
you get a fine.
you get a slap on the back.
But I mean, we don't really want people to be losing their hands for getting thing either, do we?
No, but
No.
that's like a third world thing, you know. Well, Cambodian people
Yeah,
in
but
general
a lot of people don't know,
are
you know.
grateful to be here. They are grateful to escape that kind of third world life. If I was still back there, God knows what I'd be doing. I'd probably be farming or something, eh, Ma?
You'd be a terrible farmer.
Yeah, or I was drafted for the war. So I'm very lucky in aspects of me saying that I didn't like growing up.
Yeah, but you wouldn't. I suppose you wouldn't have known though. Anything
No, of course not. No, because you don't know what the life you
could have lived.
could have lived.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Well, Grandma's seen a lot too.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah, but
her
like-
best friend got killed on the boat
yeah.
in front of her.
But you know, Grandma, like, and yeah, for sure. I think you just came. You came in and you never really told us about that. You still loved us and you still cared for us because you've got a really nurturing aspect or element. Maybe.
And Grandma just loves her family. She does what she needs to,
Yeah.
you know.
I think there's always a kind of we handle
Grandma's
things
always
differently.
been like that, you know. She's always cared for us. She loves her family.
This was so moving to me. It really made me think about what women go through in war and how there's less how we have less time for their recovery and how they give themselves less time for their recovery because someone has to take care of the kids or someone has to keep the family going. Like, Mom really did that, and they associate her with love and with food and with making things work. But, like, women see just as much shit in war, you know. They are dealing with physical trauma, emotional trauma, and, of course, sexual assault gets used as a weapon in times of war. So, but yet somehow we don't have the same, like, ideas around, like, kind of veterans.
Yeah, I think it just speaks to the patriarchal way we view history and that men's struggles, their victories are always remembered. Even the RSA, you know, or how we choose to remember war in this country, it's very much celebrating the labour of men. Like, even through that small section, we've gained some insight into just how traumatic and massive the regime, its effect was on this family, and it would have been for, you know, millions of other people. And I guess it's how little New Zealanders can really comprehend what former refugees have been through.
I mean, I think there's this stereotype or generalization that refugees are having a better life here in New Zealand because, like, we've given, like, New Zealanders think, oh, we've given you this new life and you should be kind of grateful for it. But I feel like, although, yes, we are one of those rare cases that actually are very lucky and we do have a good home and we've developed into a really good, loving family, there has been a lot of really difficult moments that we've all had to go through to get here. And I feel like a lot of people don't recognise that from New Zealand. I feel like they don't understand that, yeah, okay, we are grateful to be here, but it hasn't been easy and you haven't made it easier for us.
No, Grandma, I don't understand you.
You understand me, eh?
You talk too much technical to her. She likes it.
Go tell her. White people, Barang people just can be plur to what we've had to go through. You know? Maybe? No, you don't think so? I think Grandma doesn't see when people mock or assume that you don't understand, or they assume, like when Darani and I took you to the bank, remember? And we were there together, the three of us. You asked us to help you open a bank account. And they were like, oh, no, we're not going to help you because you don't know what you're doing. Because although we were communicating, you knew what we were doing. You asked us to do it for you. And they still were like, no. She obviously doesn't understand. You're trying to get her to do this, and we were just trying to help you. Like, and we had the whole family, all of us, even Auntie Lee and Auntie La, saying, Emery Shai, can you go down and you help Grandma open up a bank account? Because every time she goes to do it, they're like, oh, no, you don't know what you're doing because you don't understand. And that in some ways is people being mean to you or assuming that you don't know. You remember? And we got
remember.
And like even
Remember.
When we
because they look I am not speak, not understand.
They kind of look down to you.
But
no, that's the same in all cultures.
I just help ask my granddaughter. Both of them go help me.
But that's what I mean, Grandma, when I say that the Barang people are plur in the sense that they assume that you are kind of like a helpless baby, if that makes sense. Do you remember, Yay?
Yeah.
We were real mad. My sister was storming up. She was like, don't you treat my grandma like that. That and he went psycho. For me, home really is wherever Grandma and her cooking is.
Home to me is everybody. Just everybody that are together. It's a good feeling. It's a real good feeling.
Yeah? What about you? What do you feel like is home?
Mama silt mudar. My family, mama silt mudar.
I happy for you, anybody you got or your own life,
What do you
grandchildren.
yeah, you like it when we're all together though, eh?
Yeah, they happy see each other.
I think belong for me is when
That's a lifelong fucking answer.
My home is I'm happy here because all of my children are born in New Zealand. Yeah, I very happy in New Zealand here. Yeah, and Lower Hutt here. Yeah, see grandchildren. Happy
you
life.
like my doggies and my cats too, eh, Grandma?
I like everyone to got own life, have children, family. Yeah, I'm very happy.
Grandchildren.
It's always for the grandchildren.
It's what they do it for, eh? Our ancestors.
Go through war, sacrifice, moving, language barriers, the hard work for 20 years.
All for me to put off having children until I'm like 35, 36.
We just wanted to give a huge thank you to Mom, T and Emery for letting us spend time with them in Lower Hutt, for feeding us at the market, Mom, and for just sharing some of those very tough experiences with us and sharing your family with us.
You can check out photos and videos of all our participants on Instagram at Convos with My, on Facebook at Where Are You From Really, and on RNZ's website. Conversations with My Immigrant Parents was created, produced and directed by Julie Zhu and Saray De Silva. Recorded by Joey Siasoko, sound engineered by Colleen Brennan, with original music by Tal. Our cover illustration is by Ngaumutane Jones at Ms. Mimo, with design by Sonia Milford.
RNZ supervising producers are Sarah Vuitalitu and Justin Gregory. RNZ Senior Commissioner on this project is Kay Almers. Conversations with My Immigrant Parents was made possible by the RNZ NZ On Air Innovation Fund. He kōnei ipurangi tēnei mo te reo irirangi o Aotearoa.